What's up? It's Jayden from WithCon, and we are with Music Connection magazine on Warped Tour.
I need your help with all of this. I can't keep running round in circles. Is there something that I missed? I just can't figure it out.
So to start things off, you actually signed with Hopeless at the beginning of the year, which congratulations,
Thank you very
by the
much.
way. But how did that whole deal get started? How did it all end up happening?
They actually heard our EP Distance, which is the second EP we ever released. And I don't know, I guess it was a bit of luck. And then a few of the staff at Hopeless heard it, and apparently they have they sort of board meetings where they show a bunch of new music, and they played the EP, and apparently it was the first time in a long while that everyone at Hopeless was really excited. And the next day they contacted us and said they wanted to work with us.
Cool, well then that happened really quick.
Yeah, I mean the negotiations went over for ages, but the interest was there, which was really, really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys also just recently released your album.
We did.
Can you go ahead and tell me a little bit about the album for people who haven't heard it, which you're missing out, by the way, if you haven't. But for the people who haven't heard it, tell us a little bit about it and the inspiration for the album.
I guess Better Weather was, it was written over the period of 2015, and it's something that just sort of it really came together, I guess, naturally. We never really set out with a purpose or a goal and wanted to, say write an album. But I guess we just started, we knew what we needed to do. We had 2 EPs out. We knew the next step was an album. And we just wrote songs, started writing songs about what we were going through, what our friends were going through, and I guess it ended up touching on some pretty serious issues because I guess everyone in the band was somehow related to something that was going on. We touch on stuff, I guess a lot of mental illness in there. I guess just general positivity, trying to have the right outlook on things. That's something that we've tried to really, I guess, go for in Better Weather. And I'm happy with how it turned out. People have been really liking it. So.
No, like I said, if you haven't heard it, you're really missing out. But that's one of the things that I really like about your music. You mentioned you touch base on some kind of heavy subjects like mental illness, but it's great that you kind of shine a light on that because I feel like there's such a stigma about mental illness that people don't want to, they don't want to touch it,
Exactly.
So I really like that you guys kind of, you shine a light on it and you try to make a positive sort of, as opposed to.
Yeah, we could talk about how terrible it is and how negative it is all day, but I guess it's the idea of just trying to be positive about it and being look, it is what it is. People suffer from these sort of things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But, we're just going to do what we can to be positive and, work with the situation. For sure.
It's okay to not be okay.
That's exactly right, yeah.
And if there was one song on the album that you could use to introduce yourself to new fans, what would it be and why?
Oh. That's a very hard one.
It's like picking your favorite child, right?
I know.
Most people get really upset when I ask them that one.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite child, but I'm gonna go ahead and say Keeper. Probably because it is in that middle ground of I guess sort of catchy poppy melodies, but at the same time it still has that I guess aggression which we tried to go for on the album. I think it's a good blend of what to expect from Better Weather, for sure.
All right.
Listen to Keeper.
Yeah, awesome. And to kind of switch gears, since we are at Warped Tour, obviously we gotta talk about Warped Tour.
Sure.
This is your first one.
It is.
So what were your expectations for Warped Tour? When you came out, did you hear any crazy stories? Were you scared, oh my god, it's gonna be terrible?
Yeah, back in Australia, we've toured with a whole bunch of bands that are from the States, from the UK, that have done Warped Tour, a few bands that are on it this year, and they all had their, their 2 cents to put in, and there was a lot of scary things, a lot of people saying this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, but also the best thing you've ever done, tips here and there. I wouldn't say I knew what to expect coming in, because Warped Tour is a completely different monster. It is unlike anything we've ever experienced. So I don't know if there was expectations, but whatever they were, just completely blew them out of the park. I love Warped Tour. This has definitely been one of the best times in my life. I've enjoyed the fuck out of the last 2 months, and I'm actually kind of sad. It's the last week of Warped Tour, so.
I feel like it's a nostalgic sort of thing, kind of in school, obviously, it's hard, but once you get to the end, you're just oh man, play that graduation song, that Vitamin C graduation song.
Yeah. I think they will play that at some point, and I probably will cry and hug all of the bands that we've been hanging out with.
Oh man. Has anything crazy happened that you're allowed to talk about? I know sometimes people are like, yeah, it's crazy, but I can't tell you anything. Nuts.
There's a lot of things that I will not talk about that have been crazy. I think one of my favorite memories so far, that is just like ridiculous. So basically, at night on Warped Tour, we have basically like barbecues, and a lot of the bands come out. But this only happens when it's a late bus call. So when we're like the next show is like really close together. But we had one night where the bus call was 10:30, which is very early. But somehow we managed to have the biggest night we've ever had on Warped Tour, and we had. I'm going to say about maybe like 40 people in our bandwagon, and bandwagons are like small buses, like they accommodate maybe 8 people. So we had 40 people in our bandwagon, like booming music, singing karaoke through this like terrible microphone, and like people were crowd surfing, some people were throwing frisbees around, everyone was doing shots, everyone had a beer, like it was insane, like you could not fit anybody else in that. Like that is one memory I will never forget. That was awesome.
I'm trying to imagine that many people in like in
a
one of those, because I imagine I see it in my head. I'm like, that's a lot of people in there.
It was a scene. It was amazing. I loved it.
That's awesome. And what would be your best advice for a band looking to do Warped Tour now that you got one under your belt and everything? Now that you kind of know what to expect.
I think if you are lucky enough to be asked to come on Warped Tour, some things you need to know are. Buy a dolly that doesn't have small wheels, so when you're loading merch in, it doesn't break, because so many have broken this tour. Stay hydrated, for sure, very, very important, and know when to not party. I think it's very hard for us when we started. We just wanted to hang out with all the bands every single night. But at the end of the day, you are here doing a job. You need to be on your A game during your set every day. When you meet people that listen to your music, I don't want to be hungover for that, because those people want to meet us. They don't want to meet like some like 3 out of 10 version of us. You know?
So here's like,
yeah, exactly. So I guess you need to remember you're here doing a job, and although the partying is amazing, you need to know when to stay in. Like sometimes.
Get some sleep.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, and for my last question, so we can get you back doing whatever it is you're doing right now. What is it that fans can expect from you coming up for the rest of the year? Are you guys touring?
Yeah, so the rest of the year we are touring heavily, actually. After this, we are going straight to the Philippines. So we play some shows there, and then we go back to Australia, and we're doing Motion City Soundtrack, which will be really cool. We also have a couple tours in Australia planned after that, like small runs, that aren't announced yet, but keep an eye out. And then we go to UK and Europe with Real Friends and Knucklepop for the end of the year.
So dang, we don't get you anytime soon there.
No, hopefully early next year. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm holding you to that.
Okay.
We better get you.
You can keep up with Confidence. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. With confidenceband.com, you'll see it all there. If you listen to our music, if you've supported us in any way, I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, that's about it.